This video contains subject matter that may be offensive and disturbing to some people. If you are the type to require a warning throughout a video or show, let this message serve as your warning. This channel discusses the harsh reality of true crime. If this warning is not sufficient for you, consider a different genre and unsubscribe from my channel immediately.
I don't know why that one sound effect doesn't work, but it's not working. Let's see. Let me try it. Let me try something else. No. Or I'm gonna turn down this audio so in case it gets crazy, it'll still work. But as you can tell, my voice is kind of plugged up. Obviously, I'm tricking all of you guys with faking. I'm stuffing stuff up my nose so I sound weird, just so you'll help support my channel. Because that's what normal people do. Fuck. Oh, these people. Let's see. Let me try this one more time here. I just want to get the other sound effects working. Yeah, that's what the trolls were saying. You guys missed the trolls a few minutes ago. Yeah, they were in here. You guys missed them all. They said, "Gray, why don't you wear a neck brace too?" Yeah, well, I wear a neck brace when my neck hurts. It doesn't help at all on the channel. It's because I haven't done it for a long time because I had the surgery, but there's been times where I've needed one after that because, you know, I just think it's funny. These people are just idiots. All right, let me get the, not sure why, well, oh, there we go, there we go. It works. Well, they really are dumb people, you know. It just is what it is. They don't think they are. They think they're really sleuthy and they figured something out, and they're not. Okay, they're the same old. Anyways, other than that, it was a pretty fun day over there during the, well, Letitia Stout, if you can call it fun, but you know, we were having a little bit of fun, people laughing here and there because she's I mean, just, wow. One thing I didn't like for sure was that the prosecution put up a witness for the psychology, and they were talking about, they were bringing up pedophiles, and then a question was, do you think that it was some weird question? She said, generally, yes. It's like, what do you mean generally? The answer is yes. There isn't a generally. There isn't a secondary. I think it was like, is all child abuse assault? And she goes, well, generally. Or something like that. And I was like, what in the hell are you talking about? And then she tried to say that child molestation isn't assault. What? What are you talking about? It's 100% assault, right? I mean, you know, there's very little difference. That's the same mentality in the person. Yeah, and then here's what I did, everybody. I put a poll up, and 23% agreed with her. It's like, oh my God, I had to shut the poll down before they kept answering it. I mean, some I think accidentally answered it that way, but it was getting weird, you know. Yeah, it was really strange. And I don't know if it's because she's part of the new age, whatever the hell you want to call it. Thank you, Kathy Freidenmaker. The trolls probably agree with that. That's the thing. Let's see. Oh, and Linda Howell, on the show today, we brought up the cattle mutilations. Linda Howell, we brought up the cattle mutilations in Texas. Really creepy, crazy story where there's 6 cows that had their tongues cut out with really precise, really kind of disturbing stuff. You know what I'm saying? No, this is a YouTuber, KJDNCA. I'm a YouTuber. Who are you? Let's see. Is this the map guy? Yeah, I do maps, you know. I do map things out in crimes like everybody should be doing. It shouldn't be some weird anomaly. God, what an ass. I was just asking a question. We all were thinking of you, Linda Howell, and like, yeah. What do you mean in a good way? Did you see that though, Linda? The cattle mutilations? Man, I'm just checking everybody tonight, man. This is... Hold on. Yeah, it's weird. The definition of a map is a geographical representation of the Earth's surface as seen from above, drawn to scale on a horizontal plane. Gray, you bring them to life. There you go. Yeah, I don't really care what he says, Danielle. That guy, once he gave credit to these people that are just absolute wackadoodles, I quit listening to anything about anything that guy had to say. So thank you, Hamilton Stars Robertson and Kathy Freidenmaker. And Kubi up there. Yeah, I would agree with that, though. Danielle. We just don't quote that guy. He's something a little off with him. Oh, look at that. Now blue is a pile of slime. What did, I didn't see what Linda Howe said up there. Nothing, I guess. Oh, I missed it. Oh, you don't have to go back and watch. It's a 9-hour live stream. You probably take too long to find it, but just look it up online. Just type in cattle mutilations and they'll pop up the new ones. Hi, you know, this is something that bothered me just before the show. I was just randomly trying to remember somebody's name. And I should have, you know, his name should have popped right into my head, but it didn't do it. Thanks, Danielle. Are you looking at me, Blue? Here, watch this. So if you were gonna watch, remember the movie? Let's see. God, now my brain isn't working. I've got COVID brain right now. Hold on, let me think. Now, Lethal Weapon. Who's the first person's name that pops into your head that was an actor in that movie? Go ahead. Lethal Weapon. Who's the act? Right. Yeah, right, exactly. Most people are going to say Mel Gibson, and then some people throw in Glover, but he's not. That's not the guy you say. Yeah, well, everybody's saying Danny Glover now because everybody else typed in Mel Gibson. The first person that you would have said is Mel Gibson every single time. Just be honest, okay? So that's who you would have typed in. So you go out here and you say, cast of Lethal Weapon. Yeah, he wasn't in that one, Chris. So, but probably not. The first one. So you go like this, right? Maybe if I spelled cast right. And you go there and then you look at here and you go, oh, okay, where the hell is Mel Gibson? Danny Glover, Tracy Wolf, okay, let me see the rest. Whoa, so Ebony Smith, where's Mel Gibson? Where is Mel Gibson? There's a picture of him here. And in fact, when you go through the whole thing, he's not in there at all. They've completely removed him from the... yeah, he said some comments that were, racist, shitty comments. I mean, it's not like you can defend the comments that he made, but he exists as a person, everybody. He does exist as a person. He was in this movie. Right? I mean, he was in the movie, everybody. I get it. Yeah, you gotta... Sure, you don't watch his movies anymore. You do all that stuff like that. But this is the absolute perfect example of the bullshit, canceling, wiping out of history of something. He was in this movie. It's a fact. Right? Freaking joke. God. And so I think the stuff that he said was deplorable. But he's a real, it actually, he was there, like he was in the movie. I don't know, man. That's scary stuff right there. It's happening all over the place. I was looking it up because Zozo mentioned Gallipoli, and then I remember watching the movie called Gallipoli when I was a kid, or really younger, much younger, and he was in it. And I thought, God, the British treated the Australians like garbage in that battle. They just had them run up and just get mowed down, do it again, mowed down, get up, mowed down. It's really crazy. Great movie. And don't worry, I'm not saying the British are all mean right now. I'm saying in that instance on that place, that's what happened. Well, just right during that Gallipoli. I mean, they were good in World War II and everything. I think that was World War I-ish. Yeah, World War I, I think, if I remember right. Isn't that amazing, though? Just to wipe his whole existence off of the cast of... What a joke. Wow, he wasn't even in the movie now, everybody. So every time when you're watching the movie, just go, wow, who is that guy? He shouldn't have been in there. He didn't exist. No, I don't. I don't take requests. You're already starting to sound a little like a troll, just to be honest with you, KG. I mean, who asked, hey, you take requests? Can I see the streets of London? This is a true crime channel, right? We cover crime, And sometimes just talk about random stuff at the beginning. Let's see. Let me do the... let's play the Grady Judd press conference. You guys want to watch that? It was like 20-something minutes long. Inside out. Oh, man. I wish my nose worked, you know? That's... whose middle name? Whose middle name is that?
Good afternoon, folks. Thank you for being with us. I've got 3 events that I'm going to brief you on this afternoon. And the first one is a gentleman that I'll call Doroteo Martinez Castro. He's 43 years of age. He is here illegally in this country. That's right. About 2019, he was arrested by the Haines City Police Department on traffic-related charges, and subsequent to that, ICE deported him to Mexico. He came back to this country illegally.
Oh, before we get to this, can everybody put out some positive vibes for Mag out there? She just got COVID too the first time, so hopefully, you know, if we put some positive vibes out there, it'll help her. All right? So I appreciate that. I just remembered right here, so I didn't want to forget later. And she's one of the moderators, really cool person. Thanks, Ria Mazzarone. Don't you guys love the way I sound right now?
Legally. And ICE caught him here and deported him for a second time. And then he came back to this country again. So he's 3 times he's illegally entered this country, and 2 times he was deported. So on Saturday of April the 22nd at about 10:55, almost 11 p.m. at night, he was the at-fault driver in a vehicle crash at 1792 and Lee Jackson Highway, which is in the unincorporated area of Haines City.
Well, thanks, John Dunn.
In fact, he hit a car head on, and he killed the person in the other car. Did you hear what I said? He's here illegally. ICE has deported him twice. He's back. We don't know whether or not he's intoxicated or not, because we sent the drugs and the alcohol off to be checked. We suspect that he is. And guess what? He killed somebody. Had he not been in this country, that other person would be alive. He was also transported to the hospital, as well as the person who ultimately died at the hospital, our victim in the other vehicle. After he was released from the hospital in Haines City, where they did a lot of tests on him, to include CAT scans because it was a significant crash, he was found to have a broken ankle. So they put a temporary cast on his broken ankle, and he was released to the custody of our traffic homicide detectives, who charged him with DUI manslaughter and DWLSR causing death. We're still waiting on all the toxins to come back, but we had the initial indicators to charge him with that. So now he's killed someone, and he shouldn't have been in this country. On Monday, April the 24th, at about 10:40 in the morning, he was, by the way, located in our medical dorm at the South County Jail because of his broken foot. When our deputies noticed that he all of a sudden became unresponsive, as he was sitting in a wheelchair that he was in because of his broken foot. We immediately started CPR. He was transported to Sebring Hospital, and despite the best efforts of our medical personnel and our detention deputies, he too died. Well, Obviously, there's no negative interaction with us. He's not told any of our detention deputies that there's a problem. They've observed him from when he was booked in the day before. They've seen him get from his bed into his wheelchair, go to the restroom. Everything's fine, and now he's deceased. This morning we had an initial autopsy performed. Now understand, the autopsy won't be completed for several months. That we have to send, once again, the toxins off. But the initial result of the autopsy indicated that he had an internal injury from the vehicle crash. And ultimately, they believe that's what, once again, caused his death. There was no fight, no scuffle at the jail. He didn't fall off of a bed. He simply died as a result of his injuries from his crash, at least according to the initial autopsy results. Once again, we'll have the other results later. But he managed to kill himself and someone else. And had he been in Mexico, where he should have been, he would have been alive and well, as was the person that was killed. Be that as it may, the case is currently still under investigation. As you know, we released this information to you quickly, and details are subject to modification. However, we anticipate that it will be, like we said, with the addition of what all drugs and alcohol was in his system at the time of the crash, and if there were any foreign substances left over, residual, whenever he was taken to the hospital after the crash. Well, that was the one single event. Now I want to introduce you to Maximino Lopez Gonzalez. He's 58 years of age. Guess what? Newsflash. He's here illegally in this country. That's right. He had a work visa back years ago. He overstayed his work visa and never went back. So he's not supposed to be in the country either. So on April the 24th, during the late evening hours, we're called to Memphis Road, which is on the west side of Lakeland, to a disturbance family. When we get there, we find a bedridden relative who's the victim of the domestic violence. That's right. This victim is bedridden and 65 years of age. So what does Maximino do? He throws chemical cleaning agent on her and threatened to kill her. Of course, they called emergency services. Our deputies arrive and we arrest him for felony battery. During the investigation, we find out he's also, newsflash, has methamphetamine. We see a meth pipe. So we take him into custody. And at the time we tell him he's under arrest and we handcuff him, the fight is on. So he fights with us. He resists getting in the car. Multiple deputies finally get him inside the patrol car. When we get him in the patrol car, we get him seat belted in. Because he's still fighting with us, we put what we call a rip hobble around his ankles in order to stop him from kicking. And he's handcuffed behind his back. We start transporting him to the county jail. As we're on the way to the county jail, somehow he pulls his right hand out of the handcuff. And he begins to beat on the inside of the patrol car. He begins to beat his head against the patrol car. He's flailing around with a handcuff. And the deputy calls for assistance so that they can try to once again control him.
Did you hear what I said?
They pull off to the side of the road on the parkway in the area of US Highway 98. And 3 or 4 deputies arrive, and immediately when they start assessing, well, how are we going to get this guy out? He's got a loose handcuff and he's fighting and he's just out of control. They notice that he's now sweating profusely. Now, why is he sweating profusely? Is it because of his agitated state? Is it because of excited delirium? So they call for EMS. They start to get him out of the back seat of the car, and he immediately punches one of our deputies in the face. So they back out of the car, and then they decide, well, they can't get him can't get the seatbelt undone because he's fighting them so violently. So they go down around to the other side of the car, and one of the deputies takes his knife and cuts the seatbelt loose in order to get him out of the car. So they're then able to get him out of the car. They're wrestling with him. He is totally out of control. He has now injured the second one during the process of getting him out of the car. He has bitten one of our deputies, who is treated and released at the hospital from that bite. He also kicks another one of our deputies in the groin. It's just a total fight that's on. EMS arrives, so they put him on the stretcher, and at the direction of how EMS wanted him handcuffed, he was handcuffed, and we're taking him now to the hospital. We believe he's suffering from excited delirium from his use of drugs and or alcohol or whatever is in his system. He's very difficult to handle. As EMS is running emergency to the hospital, being followed by our deputies, EMS radios back to our station, said, hey, he's coded on the paramedic, and they're working a code on him now. When they arrived at the hospital, they continued to work the code. However, he passed from his apparent, and I underscore apparent, excited delirium. We also found another baggie of meth in the back seat of the car where we had been wrestling with him. As is the protocol, and our deputy confirmed, every time I arrest somebody, I search the vehicle to make sure that there's no illegal narcotics left behind. So once again, we've got a guy on methamphetamine that's in the country illegally that throws chemical cleaning agent on a 65-year-old lady who is bedridden. He's arrested. He fights us at the scene. Then he attempts he gets out of the handcuff and is beating on the windows and trying to get out of the vehicle. We bring him out. We see that, hey, he's now got the appearance of excited delirium. EMS leaves with him in the ambulance, and they're treating him, and on the way to the hospital, he codes on the ambulance folks. So we have our detectives with the officer involved death investigation team working the investigation. The preliminary results are here from the medical examiner as of this morning. He has significant medical maladies. He's got a bad liver, he's got an enlarged heart, he's got a lot of medical issues going on. There is absolutely no indication at the early stage of the autopsy that there was any injury at all from the resisting our deputies that caused his death. We are leaning toward, the medical examiner is leaning toward, once again, a death by excited delirium. We won't know that for several months until the toxicology comes back and it's ruled officially by the medical examiner. But it appears at this time that's what occurred. Now, of course, there's many exit ramps here where none of this had to occur, starting with the fact he didn't have to throw chemical cleaning agent on his relative who was bedridden, coupled with the fact that if he'd have been in his home country as opposed to the United States, certainly this wouldn't have been a problem. If he hadn't have gone into this excited delirium fit, then and fought with our deputies on two different occasions, then he would not have apparently over-exercised his body, and subsequent to that, apparently passed from excited delirium. For those that are not responsible or not familiar with that, usually it's the result of using drugs or the after effects of using drugs, and what happens is your body goes into overdrive. The way I would suggest it is it's like having a car engine, and you pressing the gas pedal to the floorboard on a car engine and running that engine wide open, tacking it wide open, and finally it comes apart. Well, that's what excited delirium does to the human body. It races that human body to the point that the human body comes apart. He already had medical issues, and certainly that appears to be the way that was. But now I want to relate to you an event that was very, very sad to me. This is our third event of the day. This all started on Sunday, March the 26th at about 2:07 in the afternoon. We received a 911 call, and our initial response was, hey, this kid was riding a dirt bike in the Gordon Heights area when he apparently had a crash, and we need an ambulance and we need deputies. Our deputies arrived, as did EMS. We found that he had apparent significant injuries. They rushed him to the Bartow Hospital, where he died at the hospital.
Oh, by the way, can everybody please hit the like button for me? I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Hospital. As the investigation at the hospital is ongoing, the hospital staff calls us back because we're still at the scene thinking we're working a vehicle crash, and says, hey, there's a bullet hole in this person. That's right, Ben Mason, who's 34 years of age. Ben's a black male and our victim, and we use his name because his family said we could, was the ultimate victim in the wrong place at the wrong time and ran into some exceptionally evil people. So here's what happened. Ben had been in an argument with his girlfriend earlier in the morning, and she dropped him off at the Walmart in Bartow. So Ben calls his uncle, who lives in Gordon Heights, and his uncle picks him up and takes him to his house in Gordon Heights. There at the house is a dirt bike, an orange and white dirt bike. So he asked, can I go ride the dirt bike? And the family says, sure, it's all right with us. So he's out riding the dirt bike in Gordon Heights when these two people are in the neighborhood, Wesley Andino and Adriana DeValle. Okay, Wesley is 28, Adriana is 26. She is Wesley's girlfriend. And neither of them have a criminal history to speak of. Adriana, back in the day, was charged with a DV, domestic violence, that was dropped, and he at one time was charged with a grand theft where he held some property of someone he worked with until the guy paid him off, so that was dropped. So these people don't have any warrants. But here's, as it's described to us, Adriana goes on Facebook Marketplace, and she and Wesley see this dirt bike, this orange and white dirt bike. And Adriana decides she'll buy it for Wesley. Now, this is according to what Adriana's telling us. So she puts $100 down and does via a Cash App. And I'm not going to give their names because they're juveniles, but the kids are 15 and 19 years of age. I want to underscore here, the kids are not ripping anyone off. They're legitimately going to sell this white and orange dirt bike. So Adriana says, hey, I can't get over there until this weekend. They said, $100, we'll hold it. She Cash Apps them $100. The next day, according to her, she tells us, she calls the people back. They've talked on the cell phone as well as through social media, and says, I'd like my $100 back because I found out that my boyfriend was cheating on me and I'm no longer interested in buying him a dirt bike. And they go, no, that's not the way that worked. We've already spent part of your $100. You agreed to it, so you can come get your dirt bike if you want to. You owe us $800 more. So she kept calling them several times during the day, so they blocked her. Well, she knew the street and the area in Gordon Heights to go to. So now we're at Sunday afternoon, and they decide they'll go see if they can find this person that they sent the $100 to and get their $100 back. She still doesn't want the dirt bike. Well, as they're riding around the neighborhood looking for the address, they see our victim, Ben, riding the white and orange dirt bike. So they think, well, he must be the guy who was selling the bike. So they tried to stop him. He rode around and he came back and they said, hey, we don't want to buy your dirt bike anymore. We want our $100. Well, Ben doesn't know them, doesn't know what they're talking about, and he drives off. When he drives off, old Grits for Brains here jumps out and shoots one time at him. And then they jump in the car and take off.
Hey, we got a new one. Grits for Brains. I'm gonna have to add that. Here, hold on. I gotta record it really quick. Just a second. Be too hard to find it again. Grits for Brains. Just a second. Where is it?
When he drives off, old Grits for Brains here jumps out and shoots one time at him. And then they jump in the car and take off. Well, Grits for Brains is now driving. Adriana, who she said leaned down in the seat and didn't see anything, isn't that convenient, took off and went back to their home in Chestnut Woods off Chestnut Road in West Lakeland. Have I told you lately that my homicide detectives are simply the absolute very best? Well, they were able to find out where Wesley and Adriana were living in Chestnut Woods. So they tracked them there only to find they've moved out. That's right. So what has occurred, Adriana says, hey, I want to go back to Delaware to my mama's. I'm over this. You've scared me. Wesley, when he got home, said, I shot at that guy. I don't know if I hit him or not. Adriana says he said that, but she didn't know. So 2 days later, they leave for Delaware. Well, let me remind you once again, my homicide team is simply the very best. Well, they tracked him all the way to St. Augustine. The St. Augustine Sheriff's Office was remarkable. They helped us out immediately. They found some video, where they gassed up in St. Augustine, and off they went again. We tracked them to Delaware. We contacted the U.S. Marshals and the Delaware State Police, and they were outstanding. They found and arrested both Adriana and Wesley on warrants that we had obtained. They have just been returned to Polk County, where Wesley has been indicted by the grand jury for first-degree murder and Adriana for accessory to a capital felony. Now, I want you to think about this. Poor old Ben is simply riding a dirt bike that he was given permission to ride. He doesn't know anything about anything. He doesn't know these people. He didn't know the dirt bike was for sale. He's just minding his own business. And Grits for Brains here shoots him. Did you hear what I said? Shoots this guy who's minding his own business. Was for sale. He's just minding his own business. And Grits for Brains here shoots him. Did you hear what I said? Shoots this guy who's minding his own business. If there's ever been a classic case for the opportunity to spend the rest of your life in prison, this is it. Because this guy was way out of line, and it all started with Adriana trying to buy him this dirt bike, and then Adriana finding out that he was not the nice, wonderful person that she thought. However, he did take her to Delaware, so maybe part of that story is suspect. But that's up to the prosecutors to work it out
they
later.
just wanted to get their money back.
Do you have any questions?
Idiots.
You know what I know. We'll give you another update just as soon as we have them. Take care. See you later.
Yeah, he's the best. That's all there is to it. I think I like that last clip better. The way he said it. Let me see.
Was for sale. He's just minding his own business.
I guess this is the recorded audio here.
And Grits for Brains here shoots him. Did you hear what I said?
I think that whole segment. Let me change the space in between this part right here.
And Grits for Brains here shoots him. Did you hear what I said? Shoots this guy who...
And what about that? Okay, so... hold on, let me get rid of the rest of it. All right, so the clip would be this one right here. Just this.
And Grits for Brains here shoots him. Did you hear what I said?
I kind of like that one. All right. Let's see. Got to add it to the Grady Judd list here. Gotta find I forgot where to put it. There we go. There. I'll call it Grits for Brains. All right. Got it? And then I'm going to go out to, let me see if I can open up my other software. I got to add it in there right now. So let's see. I guess it goes on, wow, is there like a last page? I don't have any open slots here. Oops. Okay, well there you go. Put it on this page. Yeah, it's a, I don't know if you guys have ever seen it, but it works like this. So this is you get the Stream Deck. This is the virtual version of it. So there's all these different things here. This is just play audio. And then I'm going to go find it, which is on my F. It's in here. Downboard audio Grits for Brains. There you go. And then I think well, I don't have this picture, so here we go. Now, when I press the button on this physical object that I have, it'll be...
And Grits for Brains here shoots him. Did you hear what I said?
Yeah, for something really stupid. Well, we got it. Hey, thanks, Vanessa Dance. Isn't grits just like cream of wheat, sort of? I mean, like you traveling, Teresa. That's right. You're the biker. Sent those pictures in. Grits and bacon. Come on. Or how about like oatmeal? Yeah, I don't think I've ever had it. Thanks, Mickey Duff. Grits, butter, salt, and pepper. Maybe I'll have to try it one of these days. Now, you always hear people talking about it. Oh, they're similar? Okay. Yeah, because I know cream of wheat with butter tastes really good. Why am I even talking about food? I can't taste a damn thing. I'm moving on to something else. I sat there and ate about 10 saltine crackers because I got a little bit of the salt because my tongue still works. Okay, so I'm going to do Kohberger is going to be last. Or maybe we can do that now, but we've got the Coley McCraney had closing arguments, so I was going to try to read those today instead of having that voice do it. But now let's just do Kohberger. Yeah, so this right here, here's a Fox News article that talks about Kohberger, and it says a defense investigator working on behalf. This has been out for a couple days here. A defense investigator working on behalf of University of Idaho student murders suspect Bryan. Murders suspect Bryan Kohberger asserted in a newly unveiled court filing that a surviving housemate has exculpatory information. I didn't see it in that list on that website, though. So when they say exculpatory information, that means it's something that could prove his innocence. I mean, what in the hell is that? I mean, what in the hell could Bethany Funke have that would prove his innocence? You know, is it the fact that they claim it was actually the driver of the Uber, so she was downstairs when that guy came and it's not him, so therefore I really don't understand. Right, it makes him so he's innocent. I mean, that means he has nothing to do with it. I mean, I just think it's bullshit. It's just him trying to get somebody in there. Kohberger, a former criminology PhD. But see, now people are going to run with conspiracy stuff like, maybe she knew him and was in on it somehow. And, you know, all that kind of stuff. But that's what's, I guarantee it, that's going to show up on YouTube. If it hasn't already. Kohberger, a former criminology PhD candidate, is accused of entering an off-campus home on November 13th at 4 a.m. after the occupants, all undergrad students at the school, had been out on a Friday night into early Saturday morning. Police allege he fatally stabbed 4 of the 6 people inside: Madison Mogan, Kaylee Gonzalez, Zana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. The 3 women lived there with the 2 survivors, while Chapin Kernodle's boyfriend was spending the night. In the documents obtained by Fox News Digital, the subpoena demands the roommate's appearance on June 28th, 2 days into Kohberger's planned preliminary hearing, and warns of a potential fine of $500 or 25 days in jail if she refuses. I mean, my thing is I don't know why. I mean, she should go, right? I mean, there's things that are like, ooh, I don't want to go. But why not go? I know the defense is trying to call her up there, but she could go in there and completely just destroy what he's trying to say. And plus, your 4 roommates or 3 roommates and a boyfriend all died there. So I'm not really sure what my opinion is really on this, because it's just a preliminary hearing. But I don't know. I'm not sure why you need to fight it. I know. That's exactly what I was thinking, Mel's Diner. I think it actually adds to a conspiracy theory. You guys are still talking about grits, huh? Wow. Yeah, so I'm not sure what to make of that. Well, what are you guys' opinion? Let me do a poll here. I mean, she might be compelled to. I think if I was a judge, I'd want to know the answer to the why, then make a decision. Nope, we got the poll question up there. Well, she was the one that would know the least of anybody. She was on the first floor below the living room, pretty much like below the TV and the couch. That's where her room is. So, Dylan Mortensen, she knows all kinds of stuff. I mean, she was right there listening and interacting and opening doors and looking and hearing. And Bethany Funke probably heard some things. She might be able to prove when a door was open or something. I mean, that's something that might be interesting, is we never got to hear what time which is really strange to me, that the time that the DoorDash driver dropped off the food was never precise. Why wasn't that an exact second? I mean, those companies, they're right there. Right when they get there, they text somebody, right? Don't they text you right when they drop the food off? Like, it seems like that should have been something that they knew right away. I'm going to get rid of this guy who's all over the place. Let's see. Prosecution can skip preliminary hearing and just do grand jury. Yeah. Right, let's see. Everything is timed with deliveries. Right, so I don't understand why they don't have... That wasn't in the document saying your delivery driver drove by at 4 o'clock, delivered the food at 4:01, and they're seen on the camera driving away. We don't ever hear anything about that. That part isn't mentioned. One thing I could think of is her statement to police are probably inconsistent to what Dylan said. Yeah, maybe something like that. There's one document out there that said she was the one article I read that said she was the one that found all the people dead. Which is weird, because Dylan was up there. What do you mean you heard she had more info and saw people outside the... I don't know, man. Jeez. That's just such a weak, vague statement there. Can't go with that. During the course of my investigation, it became known to me that she has information material to charges against Mr. Kohberger. Patante wrote in an affidavit to support of the subpoena revealed Monday after online sleuth found the case listed on a Washoe County, Nevada court docket. A portion of that information added as exculpatory to the defendant. So what was the information? The information is unique to her experience and cannot be provided by another witness. According to the document. Online sleuths, really? Yeah. That's like, remember the whole, well, if you add all this stuff up on a receipt, on the, it comes up to exactly the amount of money in the Debbie Collier case. Yeah, that was all bogus. You know, the boyfriend owes this amount in court fines and fees, and it's exactly the same number as... the information is unique. I don't really understand what they're saying up there about the sleuth. Known to me that she has information material in support of the subpoena revealed Monday after an online sleuth found the case listed on... Okay, yeah, so this is sort of similar, I think, to the Delphi case, where you got a bunch of these wackos that are helping out the defense attorney of Richard Allen. So they're like, oh, they're online sleuths. No, you're wackadoodles, okay? That's what I think. And I think somebody probably came up with something. So maybe if it's something where Bryan Kohberger knew her or something at some time before and he wants to bring that up, maybe it's something like that. I don't know. But as a result of Kohberger's defense is asking the court to compel her testimony at his scheduled preliminary hearing in June, as they hope to challenge the probable cause used to justify his arrest. Prosecutors can sidestep his attempts to disprove probable cause by seeking a grand jury indictment behind closed doors. If there is no preliminary hearing because there were superseded indictment, the issue of subpoena becomes moot. Even if a grand jury is impaneled behind closed doors without involvement from Kohberger's defense team, prosecutors would be ethically bound to disclose potentially exculpatory evidence, she said. However, a grand jury would enable prosecutors to present the case without subjecting any witnesses to harrowing cross-examination from Kohberger's defense before trial. The prosecutor has to present such exculpatory evidence to the grand jury, even though the defense is not present. However, in court filing opposing the subpoena, also published Monday, Reno-based attorney Kellyanne Valoria argued that the Idaho subpoena was improperly filed and there is no authority for an Idaho criminal defendant to summon a Nevada witness to Idaho for preliminary hearing. There is also no authority for an Idaho criminal defendant to summon a Nevada witness to an Idaho matter without a hearing, and there's no authority to summon a Nevada witness to an Idaho matter without a Nevada judge making a finding of materially necessity and the lack of undue hardship. At the time of the stabbing, Kohberger was a PhD criminology student at Washington State University, a neighboring school less than 10 miles away. I'm not going to keep reading through this one, but I'll go to the next. There's another article here. But anyways, you guys know that on this channel, every single night we try to raise funds to help support the channel. And for whatever reason, on the later show in the evening, it's been slower than normal. So if you guys would like to help support the channel so that we can continue to do what we're doing, that would be awesome. I do donate over 50% of the net revenue, which means I just pay my taxes, and then whatever left after that, I split it, or I actually give more to the charities from the YouTube revenue. Okay, so if you're able to and can afford to help support the channel, becoming a channel member or super chats, whatever you want to do, that would be awesome. Thank you. All right. This is today on CNN. Thank you, Melissa South, American Lady. Attorneys for the Idaho murder suspect want a surviving roommate to testify. She is resisting the effort. Wonder what her reasoning. I'd like to know what her reasoning is. Let's see what this one says. One of the surviving roommates down here. Miss Funke's information is unique to her experience. An attorney for Funke who returned to her hometown in Reno, Nevada. Hey, thanks, Melissa South again. What are you referring to, Danielle? Oh, you mean like that? You think that's why he killed him? Thanks, everybody. The motion argues the defense demand is without support, and there's no further information. Yeah, why wouldn't you say, here's the exculpatory information to the judge, and then let the judge say, oh, wow, that's pretty amazing, and the prosecution gets to see it, instead of just bringing her there randomly. I don't know. That seems kind of odd that you're not saying what it is that you find exculpatory. Bells South, Bells S, member for 8 months. My voice is fading quick. I can tell. So there was some stuff on Twitter that Cindy sent me. Richard Bottoni, being first duly sworn upon oath, deposes and says, I am a criminal investigator. I was asked and appointed by counsel Ann Taylor to investigate the alleged incident which led to the arrest of Bryan Kohberger. Bryan is charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder. The deaths took place in a 3-story home. There are 2 bedrooms on each floor, bathroom on each floor, and a kitchen, dining room on the middle floor. Mr. Kohberger is alleged to have entered the house at around 4 a.m. Well, not really. He was still driving his car at 4:04, so you're already... you're trying to say 4 a.m. to match the... see, you know what I think this all derives from, you guys? I think it comes from online sleuthing. Remember about 2 weeks ago, there was all these wackos that were talking about how the DoorDash driver is actually Kohberger. You remember that whole thing? And I think that's exactly what's going on here. And that's why in this document, he says around 4, which is exactly the time frame they use for the DoorDash driver, instead of saying after 4:04, because he was literally seen turning around at 4:04. I think it's possible that he has, yeah. I don't know if he has or not. Don't know. What are you talking about, Amber? Not our Amber, but this Amber. What are they doing in here? What's the craziness? Nobody in here wants to talk about it. I've done it before. Like, you know what we should do is, where is that trigger bunny? We need to play that. I have to go up, and now I gotta go look for shit. Oh, UK Mirror apparently stated boyfriend seen, or Bethany Funke seen a naked man. It saw, not seen. A naked man running out of the slider door. How could she see anybody running out of the slider door? when Bethany Funke's on the first door. That doesn't make any sense. So, sorry, I'm not going to believe that one. Makes no sense. So, that's why nobody's talking about it. Yeah, she was also on the first floor. She would have had to walk up the stairs, go into the kitchen, and see somebody running out the slider door. And then she would have immediately saw the dead, the roommates that were dead. You guys are crazy people. CB3, and who's the other one? Amber, not Amber Maiden, the other one. Sorry, Amber, that you had the misfortune to Amber Maiden to have that same name, but yeah, so I think that is probably what's going on here, is they're trying to coincide it with because here's the thing about the DoorDash driver. We don't have the exact times. We do not have him. They should have had him on camera driving by in the other direction and that sort of thing, right? We don't have any of that information. So that's what they're using for that. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. These guys are all the trolls from Reddit, just randomly showing up, bringing up a bunch of garbage that means absolutely nothing. See, well, let's see, what is this account here? Oh yeah, nothing on it at all. Kind of older, but nothing on it at all. They don't put anything on it because they want to, just sort of fly under the radar. E-begging, right? Because I asked if people would help support the channel. And why is it e-begging? Wouldn't it just be begging, Oh, e-begging, because it's on the internet. Like e-cigarettes, it's electrical. It's got these... Yeah. I don't think there's anything... See, the thing about YouTube, if you don't ask people to help support your channel, there's nights where they just don't... There's nothing. They don't remember. They don't even think about it. It doesn't even pop into their head. So yes, every single night I ask, and if people can, they can. If they don't, they don't. Okay? Yes, no big deal. Hey, welcome, Glenjamin. It's electric. Gray doesn't even know what the E stands for in e-cigarettes. Yeah, if you don't ask, then nothing happens. Not sure what Chloe's running around like a chicken with the head cut off. And that being said, everybody, Bing Crosby, Jesus, is that a compliment or? So what do you guys' thoughts? That's what I think it is. I think that there's these people that got a hold of the defense team, and you know how you got these people, they didn't think it was the guy that they wanted it to be and didn't work out the way they wanted. So they always jump on the side of the actual accused killer, and they just act like lunatics. Okay? Oh, he's innocent. Ooh, he's innocent. Just like Richard Allen. Oh, he's innocent. So then you get these other people. Oh, did you see the Ron Logan document? They thought it was him. Why don't you guys use that one and go? And it just goes on and on and on. And I think that's what's going on in this case, is that somebody is trying to make it seem like it was the DoorDash driver. And guess what? Bethany Funke was on the first floor. The first floor is where the DoorDash driver would knock, right? So he's going to say, well, it wasn't me that went in. It was the DoorDash guy. So that's my opinion on what they're trying to do. If not, it should just be something so simple for them to say. But they probably want to, like, I mean, I guess sort of in the defense's defense, they wouldn't want to say exactly what it was, because then she could alter what she might say. But if it's something so obvious, you would already know what that is and would have told the prosecutors that information. Yeah, a naked DoorDash driver. Makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? These people don't want to talk about it, though. I don't know. Electric begging? Shouldn't it be begging? Internet begging? Or why begging? See, I don't call it begging. Begging's when you make up something like, oh man, I've got the... Oh, my arm, it's broken, everybody, can you help? Oh, yeah. I'm just telling you, on this channel, if you know, we do a lot of great stuff with the actual funds, right? So look over here on the left. $144,250 from the income from the channel has been donated to various true crime related charities. Can you point to one other channel? And that's from January 2020. That's only 3 years and 4 months ago. Okay? So that's an average of, gosh, I don't know, what is that? 48,000? I mean, it's a huge number every year, but we did 62,000 last year, and 42 the year before, and 22,000 the year before that. Okay? And this year so far, we are at 17,500 with we've already done 1,500 this month so far. NICMEC has 2,500, Rain 2,000, Innocence Project 1,500, Texas EquiSearch 2,500, Black and Missing 1,000, Indigenous Vision 500, Wounded Warriors 1,500, and our DNA Fund 6,500. So if you want to help be part of that, where we do that every single month, that would be great. Let's see. I'm traumatized and I don't even know them. I don't know who that is. Yeah. But the thing is I don't know if it's because I did the show earlier in the day and we did this evening show, if that's why it's so much slower in the evening now. But I'm kind of nervous to go back to where I was just doing the evening shows when it's like this. See what I'm saying? Yeah, we this channel was the first place that mentioned that the killer had bushy eyebrows. And we already knew that. I knew that the killer had bushy eyebrows for at least a month prior to it coming out in that document. Yeah, I think she should go there if it's a real thing, but prove it's a real thing.
There is no reason to victimize her over lies. The judge should hear the reason first.
Right, exactly. I agree with that. Yep. Really? That's crazy, Daniel. I never lost a second of sleep on this one. I don't do it on any cases, because to me, cases are just a puzzle you're looking at and then you go to sleep. They don't, it's a total nightmare. It's spooky shit, but... Thanks, John Dunn.
Keep up the good work, Ray.
Was that twice, or is that just randomly? Yeah, maybe. It seems like if you have a consistent time zone, at least people know to come. I was actually thinking going over there to Idaho not too long from now, but I was going to go, I was kind of planning on kind of going sort of more recently, but
Keep up the good work, Ray.
COVID just kicked in. Now I'm sort of set back a while. Thanks, Melissa South. taco stomp. It's always nice having that taco stomp on top of Letitia, isn't it? Thanks, Yee. Yeah, I'd go with you there, Amber. That'd be good. Freaks on the ground. Well, what are the missing pieces of the puzzle? The only things that are missing is where did he put the bloody knife and stuff during the times where he turned off the phone, and other than that, it's kind of... Hey, Christy Kazi just gifted a membership to... Who got it? CJK. I gave out 5 memberships on the live stream earlier today. And heard, saw things, and that's ridiculous, Glenjamin. Yeah, well, she shouldn't go. If that's all they've got, forget it. There's no way in hell she should show up. Well, they just want to probe her for questions. See if they can find something to use for their defense. Yeah, forget it. Yeah, I mean, those are stuff that they know later, but it sounds like they had communications, right? I mean, like, well, he was liking some of their comments and commenting, messaging. Thought we heard that earlier. I think you will cross 100,000 this year. If not, what? I don't know what you're saying, Pamela. I don't know what that means. I couldn't sleep till the killer was caught. Oh, really? Jeez. So you stayed awake for like 3 weeks straight? A month? I think she lives in New York, but you never know, man. New York, but I was so scared. Yeah, I mean, I've had times where I was... There was one, when I was younger, I think I was like 20-something, that I remember watching the special with Bill Curtis on the Kennedy assassination. And man, by the time I was done watching that, I was just full-on conspiracy, just, whoa, this is creepy shit. Kind of stayed up all night. Really? How are you guys losing sleep in this case? Is it because you're staying up too late watching other people's videos, or what? Like, yeah, but what are you talking about, Pamela? 100,000 what? I'm still not sure what you're saying. 100,000 what? Can you just fill in the rest of the sentence there, please? I'm just stupid right here. Big mess, big mess. I don't know what she's saying up there. It said, first she said, I think you will cross 100,000 this year, if not more, with the upcoming pretrial. Yeah, I mean, you mean, huh? So 100 million? No, look, I've already got the silver play button. It's right here. Okay, you know, we got the 100,000. It's right there. Well, that's cool.
No lie, I only slept well when he was 4.
It's like having a. I guess if you lived alone and you're a female and there's a like a serial killer like person walking around. I mean, that's pretty interesting how it turned out to be that. I thought it was going to be somebody like close to them that knew them. And like one time I thought it was like a boyfriend. You know, it was a theory. I said it's very possible this isn't true, but this is my theory given the information, and it seemed to make the most sense at the time, but it wasn't right. You know, sometimes you put cases like this when you see somebody stabbing somebody in an apartment generally are a crime of passion by somebody that they know. This turns out to be one of those crazy other stories that you hear about when serial killers get involved. And I think Bryan Kohberger was a serial killer either in the making or is one currently. That's exactly what he was going to be doing. I think that he idolized probably some serial killers. His teachers were experts on serial killers, and I think he was trying to sort of relive sort of a Bundy moment. Now other people, he might be combining things, but I thought it was interesting after his arrest, or not his arrest, but after the murders, he drove down to Colorado through Utah, two of Bundy's locations, drove right through Bundy's locations in Utah. Then in Colorado was like 15, 20 miles away from another one of the locations. And then he goes back up, and by the way, he came from Pennsylvania to Washington, which is exactly the same thing that Bundy did. He went from Pennsylvania to Washington. So those kind of things, when you look at that, it's just too coincidental to me. And then he also killed 4 people in basically it was an off-campus sorority house. He had 3 women. The guy he wasn't intending to kill Ethan. He wasn't supposed to be there. Well, I wouldn't just call him a wannabe sort of like a. I mean, I think he is going, you know, like he is a serial killer, except he might not have the prerequisite number of killings. See, that's the problem sometimes. Is like they're serial killer-like people that only kill once. Like April Tinsley's killer, John Miller. He just killed one little 8-year-old girl, and that's it. But he acted like one. He taunted the police for years. Put a message on a barn. The murder was 1988. Put a message on a barn in 2000, taunting them, saying, "Hey, did you find the other shoe?" And then in 2004, I think he left condoms on bicycles, saying that he was the killer of April Tinsley. Had semen in those, and then they finally were able to use genetic genealogy and find out that it was John Miller, a psycho. And the FBI profile in that case was incredibly accurate, pinpointing a precise location in a general area. Said he would live near a school, exactly where he lived, right next to a school. And I mean, they just nailed it. What won't fly? Oh, in the paperwork or last name. Yeah, they spelled it with no E. I'm not sure, like, is that a... I mean, it's not great, but what does that really... I mean, they know who she's talking about, or they're talking about, right? What do you call bullshit on, Beckles? On what? I think the evidence they have on Bryan Kohberger is so damning that if I was in court right now and merely read the arrest warrant affidavit, I would vote guilty in 2 seconds. Dumb people, they don't understand it when they read it. So then they go, oh, he's not guilty, ooh, because they just look for the out with all their little buddies, and there isn't one. Bryan Kohberger is the killer. He was there in this case. No, there's no... I'm not going to do a poll. I know what it's going to be. It's trolls and guilty. Yeah, I mean, they followed the same vehicle all around. It just disappears early in the morning. Like he turns off his phone right after it leaves Pullman. Then the murders happen after he drives around in Idaho for a while. He's driving around. Then, right after that, his phone turns on again as it drives south, this long direction back. Oh, and then, by the way, it turns back on again at like 9 in the morning. And he drives over there just to check his handiwork out to see if anything's happening. Then later in the day, he drives down to... what was the name of that town in Idaho? But way down south, he drove down there. Lewiston. He went down there. It's the same vehicle again, everybody. And his cell phone. And then guess what? He gets out of the car himself, so his face is sitting right there. Yeah. So now you've linked his face, the car, and the cell phone on the very same day. So what we'd have to believe is that a roommate or somebody else stole his car and his cell phone, but then the killer, using somebody else's car and cell phone, turned off the cell phone to hide the fact that his alibi wasn't there. You know, like the guy that he's trying to pin it on. So why would he do that? Why would somebody steal Kohberger's vehicle and his phone, drive over there, then turn off the phone as he's going in because he wouldn't want Kohberger to be known to be the killer? That doesn't make any sense, right? Because he'd want it to look like him. That's why he stole his car, and, you know, so it's just bogus. They're accurate, Iris. They're accurate. I know you're skeptical. You're wrong, okay? No, it wasn't the wrong year and model. It was a different range. They all looked the same. They just had a lot. The range wasn't high enough. Okay, Iris. You're just wrong again. I apologize for your ignorance. It's okay, though. One of these days, you'll actually see the answer, but you'll never believe it. You know why? Because you've already deemed him not guilty. You just don't buy it. So in the future, even when they have incredible information, you'll say, but what about... Right. Give me a good, what about? Nothing anybody ever says is one of those things you go, wow, that's incredible. That is exculpatory. Who cares? It's his, though. Right, Iris? He has his touch DNA on it. How did it get there? See, touch DNA matters when it's something like that. How did his touch DNA get on the sheath? Oh, let me guess. The same person who stole his car and his phone that night rubbed it on his arm or something when he was about to leave. See how mean Gray is? Yeah. Yeah, it could be aliens, sure. I don't know if she says, I don't buy it. There isn't enough evidence. The evidence in this case is so overwhelming. To me, it's mind-boggling. Okay? You've got a guy who moved from Pennsylvania to Washington to a graduate program in exactly the same general area that he was studying in. His crime took place. You know, it's like he's a criminology student, and he was studying serial killers. So that would make you go, you know, that would just be some weird thing. And then all of a sudden you see that he'd driven over to Moscow, Idaho multiple times. And late at night even, you guys. Like kind of late at night, driving around, looking around. You know, we don't know what he was doing while he was there. But he was pulled over one time. A couple times, I think. And just look at it. Oh, I got thrown into prison. God, that's brutal. Oh, guess who's in there right now? Danielle from earlier. That's hilarious. How do we get her out of there? Oh, there's me. I'm in prison. Yeah, it sucks making sense. You know. Who ran out naked? Oh yeah, that was the story from earlier. Yeah. Katie Lucas, an American lady, threw me in prison. Dang, you guys are mean. Well, I guess we'll see how long I stay in it. It seems like I might be in here a long time tonight based on how it's been going. You know what I'm saying? A little bit scary. Hey, there we go. There's Amber Maiden. Bail for sticking to logic. Bail and coffee. All right. That's probably enough to get me slightly down the hallway out the door, you guys.
Bail for sticking to logic. Bail and coffee.
I don't know. They didn't really say much about that in the... why would she be looking there, Iris? And not only that... Oh, hey, thanks, Glenjamin. And Cali Gal 3. Hold on, I got you guys in prison here as I click on your name. And Cali Gal 3. Oh man, what happened to the chat there? Sort of just went weird. There we go. Oh, and WNC Granny. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Guess I just gotta throw myself in prison every once in a while.
Snack while in jail.
Yep, will do. Meat sticks and ravioli. Thanks, Lisa Taylor, WNC Granny, Caligal 3, Glenjamin, American Lady, and Amber Maiden.
Bail money.
Meat stick. Shouldn't it say what it is? You know, just meat stick. Does that work? Like, what is the meat? Mystery meat stick. That's what they need to call it. Oh yeah, so what was the comment up here? It said, well, Gray, how do you explain that Dylan Mortensen not seeing Ethan dead between the bedroom door hallway? Well, you know what's interesting is that's what I was told in my, like a conversation, that he was found right there, but then in the probable cause document, they said they didn't mention that part. They said that they were both in the room. So I guess we'll have to figure out what the reality is at some point. But I sort of feel like what I was told is accurate, so we'll have to see. I think until we hear all the information in court, we can't even make a judgment. Yes, we can, because we've read the probable cause document. And that's not even all the information they have. That's just enough for probable cause, right? I think the probable cause document is so freaking incredible. It's just, it's mind-boggling. They actually were onto the car, and then eventually his DNA matches DNA that's on the sheath. I mean, that's pretty crazy, isn't it? I saw some great... What does that mean? Yeah, I have a 3D... I mean, maybe I'll try to open that up if you guys want. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, this is my channel. It's not this, you know, it's like your... I'll see if it's not something I can find really quick. It's been a while since I opened it. But I'll show you where Bethany Funke is, and maybe we could speculate on that a little bit. Then I've also got the Coley McCraney Closing Arguments. Oh, that's it right here, I think. Or is this it? Item 4 Max. Why do I say it like that? This is designed for... Let me try this one. What do you mean? Oh, Tri-delts. Delta, delta, delta. Tri-delts heard bail money. That's what I feel like. You know that face that creature is making? That's what I feel like right now. All right, come on, let's go. Yeah, look at that, it still works. So this is the house, right, you guys? We'll see it again. I was told how shitty this is. And I'm not even... This isn't the rendered version, by the way. It's just like... This is the graphical interface portion where you can see... So let's go back a little bit. There's the front door to the house. And then right when you come in, you turn right, and this room was empty. There was nobody in this one. They just put storage stuff in there. So empty wasn't the right word. They just put stuff that they don't use in there, right? Now, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Yeah, my name isn't Greg, Pamela. You could at least try to get that part right. That'd be great. So when you come into the house... Just like this, if you take a hard left, you head down to Bethany Funke's room. So first we're going to this one. And as you can see, as it turns around, that doorway right in front of you right there is Bethany Funke's room. So right above her, we'll take a look at that in a second. So see where the stairs are? That's the stairs right here going up. So when you go up the stairs... Her room is right below where I'm standing right now in the house. So she didn't really have a view of anything, really, because if Kohberger came in through the second floor and then went upstairs and stuff, she may have heard some things, right? This is where I have Ethan based on what the lady messaged me. except the probable cause document doesn't say that. Okay, so I just have Zaina and Ethan right around in this area. And then up the stairs here, at the very top, you take a left, that is Kaylee Gonzalez's room. She wasn't in the room, but her dog was. Then Kohberger would have gone into Madison Mogan's room. And I think this is exactly how they were found, with Madison on the right, because the sheath was found. The sheath was found to the right of Madison Mogan's body. Now, if Madison was over on this side, they would have said between Madison and Kaylee's body, right? And if Madison was flipped over on her back and it was on her right side, they still would have said the same thing. So the only thing that really makes sense is that Kaylee was against the wall over here, basically, and Madison was on the outside with the sheath laying right there. Now, this room's smaller than the one downstairs because this one has a bathroom, which you can see right there. I didn't put anything in the bathroom or anything. It's not valuable to do that. So anyways, then the dog is, I just put it there for the hell of it. Doesn't look like that either. Then down the stairs, and then right at the bottom of the stairs here, just at the bottom to the right, is Dylan Mortensen's room. So she lived in this room. And I think about that angle, like right there where this door was partially shut, she saw Kohberger coming. That's how she saw the bushy eyebrows. And then when Kohberger was leaving, he follows exactly what this track is doing and goes out these sliding glass doors and gets the hell out of there, goes up the hill, gets in his car, and takes off. All right. Anyways, I got to go use the facilities here, if that's okay. I mean, don't you guys think that's a shitty model? I mean, I think it's pretty good. Zoids. Look at these idiots that always come in. That's what I think is crazy about the Troll Central in here. Everybody, don't make sure to fund the Troll Fund and honor these morons who show up in here. That was the only reason, Danielle? What about my thinking ability? You know, I would have thought that would have been number one, just the way I think through stuff. Yeah, so what I think is, I mean, I don't know if there's people here that haven't seen the show before, but like I've always thought that Ethan and Zena, they were attacked first for a specific reason, and when I say reason, I mean I have a specific reason why I say that, and that was based off of Jill Mortenson's comments, what she heard. Yeah, when she said she heard something about somebody saying, like, I'm here to help, don't worry, you know. How did that happen? If they were last, why would that sentence ever be made? That's a sentence you make after you're already helping a wounded person. So I'm wondering if they were attacked first because he came up from, well, I don't know, we don't know where he came in. If he came in through the sliding glass door, then maybe he heard something, like perhaps maybe Ethan was leaving and he killed them. Then he goes upstairs and kills the two girls. And then on the way down he hears whimpering and crying, which is at 417, I think. And then there's a loud thud. So I think he came back and he heard, oh wow, they're still alive, they could identify me. And here's her and goes, hey, I'm here to help. Maybe even takes his hat off at that point to make it seem like he's a different person and have her calm down and not scream or something. And then he kills her, but I'm not really sure what the thud is. You know, did she get up really quick and do something? And then, because why would a killer say to somebody on their initial attack, hey, don't worry, I'm here to help? Something like that. That doesn't make any sense, right? No, because, well, not only that, Elliot, you're over there. I mean, just read what you write. You know what you're doing, man. Don't try to pretend, okay? Yeah, not only that, you're like pumping some other, just whatever the hell you're pumping on that. You never get answers if your mind is closed off. If you have questions, you don't say bullshit. You never get answers if your mind is closed off. Yeah, well, the thing is I say bullshit when I already know something is bullshit, right? Even with the mask on, I think Dylan would be able to identify him. Yeah, well, you're trying to pump another channel there, Elliot, so that's not going to work. Yeah, this isn't a place for you to come in and sell some other shitty channels. You know, hey, everybody, there's this other... You know, I was doing... You know, here's the thing. I've been doing true crime live on YouTube for 4.5 years. Way before any of these Tom, Dick, and Harry, fly-by-night, conspiracy theory, wacko, sensationalistic whack jobs started doing their shows, okay? A lot of times they do better than me because people like that more, okay? I don't like doing it. I don't like pretending something is something, okay? They love it. Let's just talk about all these weird conspiracy shit stories. Oh, it's okay, Glenjamin. I was just saying in general. I was just reading that because I know people say that about me. That same sentence. Yeah, it might have been even longer. Yeah, it's been, I think 2018 is when I was doing live streams. Okay, so you got, right now, I think when I started there was maybe 3 or 4 people doing live stream. Now there's like 600, and it's just, how do I get ahead? Ooh, I know what I can do. Put out bullshit. Yeah, well, it isn't hold music, it's this one. Oh, so you were just goofing around with the name that you put in there, too. Okay, all right. Never mind. Don't worry about it, Elliot. Sometimes when you have nights where there's 17,000 trolls that show up, maybe a comment that seemed normal doesn't appear that way. Or would have been perceived differently. You probably missed the beginning when there was like 4 or 5, 6 trolls just showing up. They're not here anymore. If the officer that took Bethany Funke's statement is one of those involved in Brady, I don't know what that means. Sorry. What do you mean? What does that even mean? Brady Giglio. I'm just covering this case when I do it. Well, it looked like you said like a name, actually. I can still read it up there. You actually said something, true crime, CTC you put in there. Or TCT. I'm not sure if that's a real person or a thing, but that's what you put in there. I wish we had YouTube during the OJ criminal trial. Yeah. Wow. Somebody just typed in grits are delicious. Put a 1 if you think they're on rewind mode. Either that or they're stoned. You know how with those stoned people? Let's say you're at a party with somebody that's really high, right? And everybody's going around the store, around in a circle, telling about the craziest time, this football game that they went to. And just before it's your turn, and what you do though is before it's your turn, you turn to the guy that's stoned and you say, "Hey, what was the craziest sporting event you've ever gone to?" And while they sit there with their glazed eyes in that long delayed pause, what you do is just before it gets to your turn though, the subject gets changed, but you really wanted to tell your story. And then right about that time, the stoned person will jump in with, hey, what was your weirdest story in sports? And then you go, oh yeah, that reminds me. So it allows you to get back in there because they're like usually about a 45-minute delay on a response. That's not true, Gray. You're really disparaging dope smokers, you bastard. Hey, look, I don't care what you do, okay? I'm just goofing around. If it offends you, then you probably have a problem, okay? Well, that's your opinion, man, Grady Judd investigates. That's right, that's right. I've never had grits. Maybe I should try them. Scouting Dude said they were good. Because somebody's on rewind mode and they're talking about it. Well, thanks, Abner Ram. I don't even know what you're referring to, though, Scouting Dude. I don't even remember what I said that I had an opinion.
Thanks for being a rock in a sea of buffoonery and trolls.
I've done the same thing before. Done? Man, we need to start putting E in front of everything. You know, had E. Maybe that would be a cool like code talk. Had a good E. I mean, I didn't say the E in front of good. Oh man, that's tough, man. E like E pig, E Latin, E butt, E different. There you go. Bam, got it. E, just E. Oh, it's from Big Lebowski. I don't know if I've seen that one. But how you doing, Scout dude? Feeling better? Or? Thank you, Cali Gal 3. Did you guys have fun today on the Letitia Stout trial at times? I like the taco stomps. Those are good.
Grits Appalenta, just grittier.
Well, it's weird. How come Admiram's was green, but it was $9.99? That's usually yellow. I don't get it. Well, it's just a preliminary hearing, Angel. If the judge literally says you have to go. Well, that's good, Scouting dude. Let's keep it that way, all right, bud? Oh yeah, I had these great pictures up of I had Wilma Flintstone and this random hairdo lady. Wow. I'll tell you what though, if Letitia Stout, she could save your life with that hairdo. Because if you were on a boat and the sail broke away, you could just strap her down and the boat would just keep on moving. Because that sucker was massive. Yeah, I don't know what she would have to say. Yeah, that blonde one, what the hell was that? You could hide animals inside that thing. I don't know. You guys get to manually type something? I mean, can you type in like $7.38? Mine only has whole numbers. Like, there's no pennies or... Yeah, if you missed the Letitia Stout thing, it was pretty crazy. They're starting to get finally into the interesting part of the case. Because everybody already knew what happened. There's really nothing different than the probable cause. But now they're going to get into trying to pretend that she had... Was it... well, it's multiple personality disorder, but it's called... dissociative something or other. Disorder. Yeah, dissociative disorder, I think. But anyways, it was like... It's ridiculous. How come when you have that, you don't remember when you're the other personality anything? You're just a completely different person. So then, how then was the real Letitia? How did she know that she needed to cover something up when it was purely a different personality who did it? See, I could just go in there and just shred that shit up into oblivion. I'm not even sure if it's real, Amber. I think the rarity means that people are able to trick others well enough. I think there's people that kind of go back to a time, but they still know who they are and what's going on. You know, like they're not going to forget thing that what you had for lunch that day. Or yeah, she didn't come up with this stuff until after she'd been seeing this psychologist for the state for a while. And then once she decided it was going to be, oh, I'm toast, I've got to go with insanity, she looked that one up. And that was the only really thing that would make sense, because it wasn't really her that did it. It was one of my other selves. So, then she read up about it, what you need to say and what are the things that needs to happen. And then all of a sudden she started pouring out all these things in the to the psychologist later that fit the criteria. It was ridiculous. At least she has each other. What was the other thing I was thinking about that was she's... Oh, yeah. So here's the thing. If you do, let's say you are somebody that has multiple personalities. Which one is you? So let's say, okay, we get it. You're right. The other one over here is Julian or whatever you want to call it. They did it. But they were sane when they did it, your other person. So we're going to have to put the physical body, much like in the Daybell case, we'll put the physical body in prison that housed Julian, because they're actually the ones that did it. Yeah, I just think it's just total garbage. Well, thing is, in my case, the other personalities, they communicate with me privately, behind the scenes, and they give me information, and therefore I knew the things, but I wanted to protect my others. Oh, forget it. And they probably did, Zozo. Probably called her that many times. When she was looking in the mirror, she always saw this other face saying, "You are ugly." Yep, behind the veil, you got it. All right, before I lose my voice, though, I'm gonna do the. Does anybody have any other thoughts on Kohberger here? We should probably do like a Kohberger call-in night at some point down the. We'll do something where I'm gonna redo the sequence here. I was just showing the house on this one, but I want to do the one where I think it's how he walked through. I had that one of the original ones, but yeah. All right, you guys want to do the Coley McCraney Closing Arguments? So let's see what they finally say, because I think they're deliberating currently. And apparently, we might be doing something for 3 Minute of Mystery on Thursday. Just talking about it. So, yeah, I think that's what I was saying, Danielle. That I made a whole video that I think Bryan Kohberger was a fan of Bundy, actually. And that's what he was doing, I think. I don't know about BTK, but Bundy's the one that... They had another killer that the Ripper, something like that, that sounded kind of similar with the knife and everything. But I think it's... Bundy's about the only... I don't see how the BTK... what similarity you see with that. It was a beehive with some sort of cockroach. Yeah. Who didn't have court today? And by the way, what happened in the West case? Any verdicts in that one? Yeah. I don't know how she can say she was insane at the time of the crime. If she has multiple personality disorder, that's something that you would have had for a while. So she's saying that one of her personalities took over at the time of the crime. She just happens to know all the stuff that happened and therefore was trying to come up with... she's full of shit. Yeah, I think the Bundy one makes sense. BTK is bind, torture, kill. That he was just sort of a totally different type of killer. He just hid right there in plain sight. Oh, yeah. Well, maybe that, but she was also an expert on just serial killers in general. So I don't know if that would make it a... Like, what was Bryan Kohberger's actions that we saw that resembled BTK? Anything? Come on. Yeah, it's okay. I will help you. Statement like that was used by BTK. Oh, you think so? Oh yeah. Well, no. I thought that was the guy that buried all the bodies under it. No, that was another phrase that he used. Oh, was somebody else involved? Did you arrest somebody else? That was the guy that dressed like a clown. I can't remember his name all of a sudden. Yeah, Gacy, there you go. Could be. You saying Gracie like my name, Danielle? Come on. You're mixing Gray and Gacy? Oh boy. They must be calling me a serial killer. Let's see if Reddit can, if they've sleuthed that out yet. Oh, do we got trolls in here? Oh, yeah. Hold on a second. Oh, that's just what that is one of the trolls from... We know what that is. Because we're friends, you idiot? Well, we were friends, you idiot. You know, maybe I felt sort of something similar, M. Namus. That I was mistreated. But we've talked about it. It's okay now. Okay, you moron? Go do something else. Thank you. You've now been mistreated. I'll never see you again. Bye-bye. Yeah, let's see. Jesus. Hello. Hi. Hold on, I need the other voice for this one. Hi. My name is Hal. My name is M. Namus. I don't have a name. There is a website called Namus. I really like it, so I called myself M. Namus. Do you understand? I'm so funny. Yeah, you're freaking hilarious. You're good times. But yeah, I wasn't nice to Zozo the other night. But, you know, we've had our little things and shit like that. I apologize. And, you know, it is what it is. I didn't like what was going on in the chat, but, you know. This is the American Broadcasting System. That must have disappointed somebody on Reddit who was just hoping that Zozo would never come back. And they thought they had won a battle of some sort. Yeah. what was it? Yeah, sure, you could have saved for last. Huh? Man, I don't know what the hell you guys are talking about. Yeah, I mean, they deemed her fit because maybe her regular self is fit. You know, she is fit because when she is her, she's fit, right? So that's why she came up with another theory. That yes, the courts deem me fit. That doesn't mean I don't have a strange dissociative personality situation going on. So that then we can add in other, I think that's what they probably did. Because then they could say it was just during the murder itself, it was a different personality. But I'm, you know, in general, I am fit to serve trial. I think that's what they're doing. You get what I'm saying? So she is fit because at the when they were checking to see if she's fit to be on trial, she is. But at the time, one of her alternate personalities is the killer. That's what she's going to try to sell. How much you want to bet? Does that make any sense? Yeah, it was pretty weird. Hold on a second. Where do these people come from, like 3 hours later, saying, grits are made out of corn, people? The drawbacks of having rewind mode on. VCR mode does not benefit really anybody. Hey, well, thanks, American Lady. Glad you like it. Ding, 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 ding.
I always come back for your attitude, honesty and comedy. Love the chat and mods are the best.
I'm not on rewind, I'm on live with you. Right, no, I'm talking about who's ever typing in about like what grits are made of. Yeah, they must, Tisha's lawyers just probably on a nightly basis just kind of are like, oh, Jesus. You know, they have to smile and pretend they like her so the jury doesn't think anything, but man. I mean, does she even brush her teeth, for God's sakes? I mean, seriously. Well, her attorneys know she's guilty. I mean, there isn't a soul in the world that doesn't think she's guilty other than her. Even her attorneys know she's guilty. They're just willing to do what their client wants and to go by reason of insanity. So even if they know that she did it, they can actually feel good about themselves because, hey, that's what she claimed to be. What if she really was insane? I mean, they got a really lucky break because it sucks when you have to cover somebody like that. Or, if she went, I'm not guilty, and it was just a regular trial, then it's just a nightmare. But now they have an out. Well, listen, we knew she was guilty the whole time, that she did it and everything. But she claimed that she had this personality disorder, so we had to do that. And then you sort of looks, that's better for them. No, she would be completely, I think, let go, actually, Zozo. I think she'd be out. Because it'd be not guilty on reason of insanity, and then they can't do anything with her. Right? They don't go not guilty on reason of insanity, but you have to serve 20 years in a sane asylum, which they don't really have anymore. Right? Yeah, I think that's what I think. I think if she was found not guilty on reason of insanity, they just, psychiatric treatment. But how long would she stay in there for? I mean, she's just free, though, right? She's innocent at that point. Yeah, we've watched every second of the trial, Pamela. We've seen every... I've on my channel during the day, I have the entire stream live, and I have better camera angle or setup than other people do. I zoom in on different things, have different screens, so it looks more dynamic. It's not a stagnant setup. No, she'll go somewhere if she's found not guilty. Yeah, she'll be out doing whatever she wants to be doing pretty soon because she was found not guilty by reason of insanity. That means, sure, she probably has to spend some time getting treatments and whatever. I don't know what the actual amount of time is or how they come up with that. But if she's not guilty, she's not guilty, right? Oh, really? Okay, well, that's good then. So they can just keep holding you, I guess. I guess it's a better life, though, right? Amber? I see. So she's not guilty on reason of insanity, but they keep reassessing. I see. Okay. I thought, well, shit, if you're not guilty, you could just get out, right? I mean, of course, you have some time where they have to treat you, but yeah, so they have a pretty decent life. She'd probably work one of the male guards too, you know what I'm saying? You mean the Greyhound, the guy in Canada that cut the guy's head off? Danielle, is that what you're talking about? Or okay, so that makes me feel better if that's true. Like, they could still serve 30 years in prison. Makes more sense, too. I didn't really know. I just felt like, wow, if you're not guilty, why would you have to spend time in prison? But I guess at that point, they would evaluate you until they felt like you were safe to put back into society, and that could take the rest of her life. So, yeah, maybe that's good. She just has a better, more enjoyable remaining years. She probably can have people visit, can hug them. Hell, even conjugal visit. I'm sure she could even bring in guests to have sex with, because she's not really a prisoner, right? Oh, I don't know who the Greyhound, who the killer. Are you talking about the guy in Canada that cut the guy's head off? Yeah, he was out way back then. I mean, like, he only was in 5 years in mental hospital. Yeah, we've covered that multiple times. I think it's disturbing over there. Yeah, I think she has zero chance of being found not guilty on reason of insanity. I think there's a chance that there could be a hung jury on it because there's this one juror that keeps asking strange questions about, like, investigative questions about the case, as if they're not even sure she's the killer. I mean, it's bizarre. I mean, every show I watch, I'm like, this person's an idiot. Why are they asking this? She's already admitted to being the killer. She's just claiming insanity at the time. Man, I can't believe I can still speak. Let me get to the this McCraney thing now, okay? All right, so this is the J.B. Beasley, Tracy Howlett. I'm going to try to read this thing. If it gets too hard, I'll switch it over to the... what are you going to watch, Jessica? All right, it says, Prosecutor Jimmy Thomas began closing arguments. He addressed the jury, saying that what the defendant did to these girls is what capital murder is all about. Thomas goes through how the sequence of events that led to JB and Tracy's death. Thomas stated, so this could be like a cool recap here. Thomas stated that the girls were invited to a party and that JB was celebrating her 17th birthday. He said that the girls instead decided to meet their friends in Midland City. They called one of the boys' phones to arrange the meeting. The guys came to the gas station to wait for JB and Tracy, but the girls never arrived. Thomas claimed that the girls got lost and came upon the Big Little store where they used the payphone to call Tracy's mom, where they explained to her that they were lost and they wanted to meet their friends before heading home. Thomas recounted the testimony of the two women who gave the girls directions, stating that they saw only the girls at the store and no one else. After those two women left, Thomas claimed that McCraney came to the gas station. You know what was interesting is before, it was a long time ago, the information was that the woman at the store with her daughter saw JB and Tracy drive away, I thought, but I don't know. Thomas said that McCraney approached JB and Tracy with a gun, orders them into JB's car, I mean this is speculation of course, and takes them to a marshy area. He said that McCraney ordered JB to take her pants off and proceeds to rape JB. He then forces them into the trunk of the Mazda 929, where he shoots JB first and then shoots Tracy Howlett. Thomas proposed that McCraney then close the trunk, drove the car to Herring Avenue, and walked the rest of the way home. Thomas then recounted the testimony from Wenger, who performed the autopsies and spoke about the vaginal swabs that were taken from JB. He said that the DNA profile generated from those semen stains and that it was submitted to a database back in 1999 but produced negative results at the time. Thomas says that the Mazda 929, that's where that 929 kept coming from, was thoroughly searched for evidence. He recounted the breakthrough due to advancements in DNA technology that implicated McCraney's family line. He said that McCraney, after consulting his wife, agreed to give his DNA. His profile matched that of the semen stain found on JB's sweater. He spoke about the DNA expert's testimony, where she said that the odds DNA profile being repeated were 1 in 122 non-million, or some crazy number, random, unrelated African-American men. Coley McCraney was the only person, this is the prosecution's closing argument. Coley McCraney was the only person who could not be excluded, Thomas said. Thomas brought up the fact that when questioned, McCraney said, without hesitation, told police he did not know the girls. So that's what he did say. back when he was arrested. He went through the testimony of the firearms expert who spoke about the shell casings. See, why did he lie about that? Once his DNA matched, why did he say, I never seen him before? And then it was like, oh, it did match. Okay, yeah, I was gonna, see, that's where people, it's not reasonable. Is it clear that the defendant shot those girls because... It is clear that this defendant shot those girls because he did not want to be held accountable for raping JB. He turned his attention to what the defense would have the jury believe. Thomas talked about how McCraney claimed he met JB at the Dothan Mall. He then recounted McCraney's version of the story he shared yesterday, pointing out that the girls were shown the shortcut and were supposed to drop McCraney off before taking the shortcut again to get home. It does not make any sense at all, Thomas stated. He reminded the jury that the series of events that McCraney gave all took place after the girls said they were going to get home. Thomas claimed that he took advantage of JB and Tracy that night. Thomas brought up Mrs. McCraney's testimony and the fact that she testified that when he got home that night and said she knew, amazingly, 20 years later, exactly the state of his clothing. Thomas asked the jury to consider the credibility of witnesses. He also stated that the defense believes a third person killed JB and Tracy that night. Why would a third person want to kill those girls, he asked. Why would a third person need to move the car after killing them? That's a good point. Yeah. Thomas suggested that the defense would have the jury believe that vaginal injury is required to classify rape. He brought up testimony from experts that state injury is not always present in rape cases and can be present in consensual sex. Thomas brought up Dan Driver's testimony, pointing out that he admitted he had a brain injury that affected his memory. Thomas disputed the defense claims that McCraney was mistreated at the police station following his arrest. He pointed out that McCraney testified he was given food, permitted to go to the bathroom, and given a mat to sleep on. Thomas continued going through witnesses the defense called throughout the trial, pointing out that their timelines don't match up. Is this interesting to you guys? I don't see any comments related to it, so let's try to, He told the court about totality of circumstances. Thomas said that when you consider all the evidence presented, the pieces of the puzzle that make a whole picture, he reminded the jury that guilt can be determined by circumstantial evidence. In this case, you don't have to actually see this defendant shoot and kill JB and Tracy to know what he did, Thomas told the jury. In this case, there are only two people who could tell you exactly what happened, and this defendant made sure that they were not around to tell you. Well, it's actually three, but he, being McCraney himself. Thomas said, Thomas talked to the jury about intent. I think we all agree that if you shoot someone in the head with a firearm, you have the intent to kill. Thomas stated that the defense, in their opening statement, asked the jury not to assume. Thomas claimed that the defense is asking the jury to assume that a third person killed these girls. Thomas claimed JB and Tracy did not need directions from McCraney because they had already gotten directions back to 231. Yeah, well, there you go. Remember the person at the store. Thomas asked the jury to consider if Harrison's argument made sense and if it's supported by the facts presented. He restated that McCraney intentionally killed JB and Tracy and that he intentionally raped JB. He asked the jury to give the only verdict that fairness and justice demands. Well, there you go on that part. Let me get just a little bit of water and I'll be right back. But hey, my voice actually doesn't sound quite as bad, I've noticed. I think it might be because I took a Sudafed and Claritin D. It's weird how allergy medications work. I think it's the one from 3 Minute of Mystery, Zozo. I think you know this one. And I've talked about it on here too. JB Beasley and Tracy Howlett. It's the one Dothan, Alabama, and in there was a store. I mean, I know I've covered it on the show before, so. But I think you do know this one. It'll probably take a little bit to remember, but. Yeah, the nose isn't as stuffed. I just can't taste anything. So now here's the closing argument by the defense, okay? So let's see what they have to say here. Defense attorney, let me get some. Should I play some dramatic music for these guys? What do we got? Dark times. Nah, I'll just do my regular. Yeah, Coley McCraney. Yeah, his name isn't. I almost forget it too. Like it's just. But he was arrested off of right in the middle of us doing the podcast. They made an arrest in this case, and we were even saying, "Man, they should use forensic genealogy." And there it is. All right, defense attorney David Harrison addresses the jury, saying, "Show me the evidence." He told the jury that their job is not to solve the case, but to decide beyond a reasonable doubt McCraney committed these crimes. Harrison said that if there is a doubt, and it's reasonable, that they must acquit. Harrison brought up Barry Tucker's testimony that McCraney's fingerprints were not found in the car, and that Tucker's testimony presents that reasonable doubt. Well, I mean, people wear gloves sometimes in crimes like this. Don't be fooled by photographs or anything else. Harrison said that Benson's testimony of seeing the Mazda 929 driving that night coincides with the time JB and Tracy would have pulled into the Big Little. Harrison brought up the phone call that Wade Williams received at 2 a.m. on the morning of August 1st, 1999, from a girl. Harrison pointed out that the prosecution had 19 witnesses, 5 of which were experts in their field. They are the best, Harrison said. He stated that none of the experts said they had evidence that proves McCraney committed those crimes. Yeah, he did. He forced that out of all of them. Harrison also claimed that there would be trauma to Miss Beasley, explaining that if she was 17 with a gun to her head, there would be trauma there. Well, you're wrong. I mean, that's not a fact. Harrison pulled out a board that said there was no confession, no motive, no fingerprints, no rape, no gun, no video, no audio, no crime scene, no eyewitness plus eyewitness alibi equals not guilty. Harrison said that the elephant in the room is that white girls and black boys hook up. Harrison reminded the jury that there were police officers, fingerprints were on the car, Harrison also pointed out that the prosecution wants the jury to assume rape because McCraney is black and JB was white. Oh, there we go. There we go with the race baiting and the already paranoid people of Ozark, Alabama, conspiratorial in nature. Oh yeah, of course this is going to be... See, that might be something that works. Harrison claimed that McCraney asked for a lawyer 8 times in an hour, and he was not given one. Harrison said, if that was true, they wouldn't have allowed any of that stuff. That's not true. Harrison said they have to acquit McCraney. Right. If that was true, they would never have allowed any of this stuff. Harrison began going through the testimony. He brought up the Tracy Calder personal line at the house. Andrew Hurst testified that he... Okay, but is there any proof of any of this stuff? Andrew Hurst testified that he saw JB with 2 guys at the mall July 31st, 1999. Harrison brought up the hypnosis of some of the witnesses. He continued going through witness testimony, citing the scientists that made a report stating the 929 was a 2-door car, not a 4-door. I mean, it's not really a horrendous... It's a 929, right? He talked about Marlos Walker's testimony stating he did not have any evidence other than DNA to link McCraney to the crime. I mean, that's such huge evidence, though, that you're claiming, like, she's already late, she calls home, and somehow you, somebody nobody's heard of before, that she had sex with, even though they're late getting home, and her friend just sat in the car twiddling her thumbs, and then some other random killer killed her. See, that's what the prosecution needs to have brought up. I think it's a huge thing, the sheer odds of it. He like, if I was the prosecution, I would have said, so Coley McCraney wants you to believe that after somebody that nobody's ever heard of before, just randomly had sex with a girl who was supposed to be home in a very short amount of time, and her friend just sat there listening to, right after he left them, a random killer pulled him over and just shot him in the head for no reason at all. That's what you want us to believe. See? And then you go, yeah, that is crazy. Yeah. Let's see. Harrison brought up the reward for information that was offered to Gristander. He cited Bryan again, stating that Bryan asked Gristander if they had the facts of this case right a week after McCraney's indicted. Harrison said that that the prosecution would have the jury believe that McCraney planned all of this. He said he was 24 years old, not really educated, claiming that the prosecution wants the jury to believe McCraney outsmarted everyone. He stated that McCraney volunteered his DNA. He also brought up that McCraney was shown pictures of the girls and his family during interrogation. Harrison asked the jury not to assume. I was just listening. Okay, Harrison said that DNA stands for do not assume, pointing to sign with DNA written on it. What happens when we assume? Harrison asked the jury. Harrison emphasized that if there was a doubt, it was reasonable. And and it was reasonable. Well, what's reasonable? Nothing that you've said is reasonable. That they must acquit McCraney. And then the prosecution got to rebut the defense here. Attorney General Steve Marshall thanked the jury on behalf of J.B. and Tracy's family for their time. Marshall stated that the prosecution has not asked the jury to assume, but to instead consider the facts. He restated that the 2 eyewitnesses, of course they have 2 eyes, I'm just kidding, that the 2 eyewitnesses to this crime are not here to testify. Marshall talked about how one puzzle piece does not show the whole picture. The pieces have to be put together to get the true picture of what happened in this case. Marshall equated the defense argument to the shell game where a ball is covered and swapped around for the player to find. Let's see. Marshall said that none of the witnesses did not refute, whatever that means, the autopsy reports, the shell casings, or the DNA. He stated that the defense was unable to explain away the DNA evidence in a way that made sense. Marshall brought up the hypnosis, saying that it did not impact the case at all. He also talked about the Gestapo tactics that the defense claimed McCraney faced in the interrogation room, and the testimony provided that refuted that. Marshall claimed that the defense was trying to distract from the facts of the case. He explained that the pathologist could not claim who committed a crime, but only look at DNA evidence. So when they were asked if they had anything that proved McCraney murdered JB and Tracy, they were just telling the truth. Marshall moved to talking about the DNA evidence, claiming it was direct evidence. Marshall also asked the jury to remember that until yesterday, McCraney had never told anyone he met JB prior to the murders. He spoke about Walker's testimony that contradicted the defense, stating that McCraney volunteered his evidence before speaking to his wife. The forensics do tell the story, Marshall said, presenting the report showing the powder stippling that showed they were killed at close range. He stated that evidence shows JB and Tracy saw their killer right before they died and knew they were going to die. Marshall said that JB and Tracy were on their way to meet their friends, not McCraney. The phone numbers and names found in Tracy's pocket prove that. According to Marshall, he pointed out the soil stains on the inside and outside of JB's jeans, telling the jury, oh, so she must put her pants back on, telling the jury, well, that's another good point. It's like, if her jeans were off, that means that was for the sexual act, and then there was mud, so what were they doing out in the mud, you know? Like, that's pretty interesting. The powder stippling, okay. Marshall said that JB and Tracy were on their way to meet their friends, not McCraney. The phone numbers and names found in Tracy's pocket prove that, according to Marshall. He pointed out the soil stains on the inside and outside of JB's jeans, telling the jury that they are going to be able to see photos of the girl's clothes. The inside stains tell this story, not the story of sex in the bed of a truck, but a girl on the ground being raped by someone she doesn't know. Yeah, see, that totally makes sense, because he said it was in the bed of his truck, and yet there's mud on the inside of her pants. Marshall stated the jury doesn't have to assume that there is soil inside her jeans, nor did they have to assume that the semen was McCraney's. If you can't now say you didn't know, If you can't now say you didn't know them, you can't now say you never met them, you better be coming up with another story. Marshall said, claiming that was what McCraney did with his testimony yesterday. It is reasonable to believe that JB lied and gave it is reasonable to believe that JB lied and gave the name Jennifer when her name is JB. No Jennifer there. Marshall asked the jury. He continued on asking if pieces of McCraney's story, I don't know what that part means. It is reasonable to believe that JB lied and gave the name Jennifer when her name is JB. No Jennifer there. I'm not sure what that means. Marshall asked the jury. He continued on asking if pieces of McCraney's story were reasonable to believe. Marshall pointed out that taking the shortcut with McCraney, then taking him home, then taking the shortcut again would not be faster. Marshall asked the jury if the series of events in McCraney's testimony were all coincidental. Don't lose your common sense, Marshall told the jury. That's what I always ask you guys to do. Marshall presented senior photos of J.B. Beasley and Tracy Howlett to show the jury. He urged the jury to find McCraney guilty. Well, there you go, everybody. It's pretty crazy. I mean, there's a chance he'll be found not guilty because there's all. I think it'll be. Well, I don't think it'll be found not guilty. I think there's a chance it'll be a hung jury. I think there's got to be some reasonable people that will go, there's no way in hell, you guys, that he didn't do this. Anyways, there you go. That's it. So we didn't make it to a point where we're giving anything out tonight, but I'll store the names and hopefully we get somewhere tomorrow. So I appreciate you guys all being here. And currently I'm working on the... Hey, you could have. Danielle, I mean, you could... I mean, I don't know if we're going to say he's a serial killer or whatever, but... I always feel like when people do something like that once, they've done it again. You know, they've done it before. You know what I mean? So I've already, I just have 10 more labels to print off. Then I'm going to try to send out 20 notebooks tomorrow. And then I'll do the other 8 or so, or 9 tomorrow too. But I'm just going to do the 20, get them all.
Do you think McCraney killed while he was a truck driver on the road?
I don't know what he did. Who knows what that guy did? They should probably check where he'd been. Because what he did there is something that is repeatable. It's not like a date that went wrong. This guy basically abducted, and 2 women at the same time. Pretty crazy. Thanks, Lisa Valenzuela. No, she got over hers right after the Paxlovid. She didn't have the rebound. I did. That's what sucked. I mean, she just got better, and I happened to have the rebound, where apparently my antibodies after it just weren't enough or something to keep it at bay. It sucks, you know. I'm one of the unlucky people that got the rebound. But no, she doesn't have it. I'm hoping tomorrow I'm like even better. That'd be awesome. But sometimes with COVID, it's weird. It's like almost gone, and then it just sort of comes back. You guys notice that? Or just during a day, you feel pretty good, and all of a sudden a fever comes back, and it's sort of sitting there. Then it goes away. It's really frustrating. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, I feel better than I did 2 days ago, for sure. And I think resting is such... You know what's weird? Is I think resting is almost like the cure. It's strange. Like, last night when I went to bed, and the night before, I was feeling horrible. And then I wake up an hour and a half after sleeping, and I'm already feeling way better. And then the next morning, I feel pretty good. And today, I had a weird time during the day for a little bit, and then I feel better right now. So I feel better now than I did last night. Last night, I just ended the show. I was just... You know, the show wasn't doing great anyways. There's hardly anybody watching. You know, probably had because of the Jodi Arias stuff in there, and it was just like, you know, I was feeling awful. I had a fever going, and I just said, screw it. And I feel better than that right now, so hopefully tomorrow it'll be a step better. It's kind of progressively got better for 3 days, so maybe that's a good thing. And yeah, my voice right now sounds better. Let me, I actually think that I could literally eat dog poop and I wouldn't taste a damn thing. I would just be, man, like if I had to close my eyes and they put it in my mouth, I'd be going, let's see, a wheat, what is this, mashed potatoes? I'm just saying, it's such a weird thing when you can't taste anything, right? I mean, don't you think, yeah, it's not recommended. No, but I'm just telling you, don't you think it's weird when you can't taste anything? Like there isn't the sour part, there isn't the salty anything. It's literally you're just chewing on whatever texture you're chewing on. No, I can't smell anything. I mean, I think that's kind of the main, smell is the bigger part of taste. But I literally can't taste anything. Man, I had these really yummy chicken wings. I'm sure. I'm sure they were great. I had not even the slightest any sensation of taste whatsoever. How long did it take to come back, Lori? Man, what's scary is all the people in the chat saying, God, it's been 6 months, I still can't taste anything. It's like, oh, God. And then people crying when they get their taste back, I can definitely see that. 2 years from COVID, Scouting Dude? I mean, has she gotten any better at all, or is it just zero? I like to have success stories, Yeah, I heard you type. I saw you type that in yesterday. How do you train taste buds when there's nothing to train because there's no sensation? Okay, so most of you are like a week, 2 weeks, something. Okay. I'm going to go with that. Although I did get the bad luck of the rebound, so maybe I'm in that weird category. So thank you to Kubi, Kathy Friedenmaker, Hamilton Blue Stars Robertson, Danielle, Rhea Mazzarone, John Dunn, Doberman, Mississippi, Eugenie, Vanessa Dance, Traveling Teresa, Mickey Duff, Melissa South, American Lady, Melissa South, Shogun Love, Danielle, Christy Kazi, John Dunn, Melissa South, Yee, Danielle, Amber Maiden, American Lady, Glenjamin, Caligal 3, WNC Granny, Lisa Taylor, EI Rule, Delta Delta Delta, Pamela Das Gupta, Adniram, Caligal 3, John Dunn, American Lady, Danielle, and Lisa Valenzuela. Yeah, that's crazy for... yeah, I guess that... I'm trying to figure out what the benefit is. I guess you would more eat for subsistence or to sustain your life. So it's like you'd probably lose weight and you would just be... You'd probably eat a lot more healthy food and just kind of spend some time chewing and swallowing and crapping, and that's about it, right? There would be no reason to go to like a restaurant where it's $250 a plate. Or I guess you could go and say, can I have a glass of water and a piece of toast? Thank you. No, we were just going to maybe do one episode on this, because we did this case, Coley McCraney. Or we did J.B. Beasley, Tracy Howlett, and then right in the middle of it, they made an arrest in the case, so it kind of was weird for us. But we might do on Thursday, record one or something. See how that goes. Well, cool, Papa Q. Yeah, eat to eat. Yeah. Just give me a tray of cubes. You know, and what I'm going to do is, what's that stuff called? Those pills that you get on Fox News? Hold on a second. I got them right over here. I remembered, as I was walking, I remembered. Yeah, Balance of Nature. You guys have seen those ads, right? So just make me put that in like tofu or something, and I'll just eat those, and we'll just call it a day. What they need to have is some sort of an implant for people, like much like a hearing aid, but it implants smells and tastes. So you could be chewing on chocolate cake, and it could be not very good chocolate cake, but the implant chocolate cake taste is incredible. So you're just eating, and as a matter of fact, they don't even have to give you chocolate cake. They can just give you something that looks like chocolate cake. But as long as you're told it's chocolate cake, your brain fires in the program for eating chocolate cake, and it'd be, this is great. Prime rib, the same thing. Although I'd really want to be eating it. Oh yeah, I could even eat Vegemite. Yes, I would think it was really good. I could have a Vegemite and jelly sandwich. People are, what are you doing with that? Yeah, I kind of like that sketches I got out of newspaper articles from criminals. It's kind of cool. I don't think anybody really ever bought that one. Huh? Let's see, Vegemite and avocado. Yeah, really, I just like, you know what was really good on toast is I get rye toast, you almost burn it, and then you put on avocado with salt. That's good shit. Maybe I should eat grits with butter on it now and just tell people how good it was. Grits are for heaven? It's man. Who said that? Oh, so you can't taste the Vegemite then? Okay. Oh, you think so? I think I do like stuff that's standardly good. That's the thing about Vegemite. It's not really... It's more of an Australian thing, you know? But man, people over there, they love it. My dad liked it. So, you know, I think he did it the right way. You have to spread it pretty thin on toast. You don't pack it on like peanut butter. Grit Hughes investigates. I think you're doing better than others have at this time. Well, I can't taste anything, but yeah, I mean, I've had COVID now, really, I guess you could say, for 10 days. That's kind of a long time, but it was over. That's the thing. It was just sort of over, felt really normal, and tested negative 2 days in a row, and the next day I just wasn't feeling very good, and then pow! So that means it was just still slightly there, you know. I'm gonna test tomorrow morning and see what like usually if it doesn't light up bright, it means that you have less in your system. Well, no, it's complete. I can't taste anything at all. Your nose, however, the olfactory system is your nose and your mouth, your tongue, basically. So your tongue tastes 4 different things, and your nose smells 6. And it's like the combination of both is what gives you flavor of things and smell, right? You get, so the smell and your taste combined is, or that's not really what it, your tongue has 4 different things that it senses, and your nose senses 6 things. Combined, you get taste. Your nose has smell by itself. No, they do mean something, Rebecca. They're really pretty accurate, I gotta be honest. Yeah. When it was testing 0, that means it was almost all gone out of my system. But there was a little bit lingering, and I guess apparently I must not have had enough antibodies built up to do a damn thing. You know, so I'm not sure what the deal is there, but it's definitely a thing, the Paxlovid rebound. Oh, well, the Paxlovid has the metallic flavor. I mean, that stuff's ridiculous. Like about an hour after you take it, it's just. Oh, you know what it's like. So Paxlovid, if you ever eat a what are those called? Grapefruit. The white stuff. Like let's say you take the peel off, then the other white stuff that you kind of want to peel away. It's how bitter that is. That's exactly what the aftertaste of Paxlovid. It stays in your mouth for 6, 7, 8, 9, yeah, like hours and hours and hours. And then the next day, same thing. So 5 days of that. You always smell wet dog when you have the flu? Wow, that's a little bit strange. Yeah. Yeah, but see when you say, okay, you know what I thought Vegemite was when I was over there? Like it was dried cow blood that you spread over on toast. Yeah. Why not, Renee? Well, they didn't have any when you had it. Oh, yeah, they didn't have any. Right. If you ever get it again, I would definitely do the Paxlovid, even though it kind of didn't work for me because I had the rebound. It definitely worked during those. I mean, it was like just stopped it on a dime and it went. Right? But it does have this effect sometimes on people. It comes from bear droppings? Oh boy. No, I'm saying Paxlovid. Or Paxlovid. Paxlovid. The second you test positive, get on one of your healthcare urgent calls and say, "Hey, I need you guys to get me this." And they can find a way to get you that just immediately. You just tell them that you tested positive. And I think that shit's really pretty incredible, whatever it is. I mean, it works. Okay. Yeah. Apparently, it's an antiviral that stops the replication of COVID. So as soon as you start taking it, a few hours later, it stops the replication of it. Your body still builds up the antibodies of what you had, and then it starts fighting what you have in your system with the antibodies that you have, but it doesn't keep replicating. But if you stop with there's still some left in your system, and you don't have enough antibodies, I guess. I'm not really sure how there's some left if you're, like if you've been vaccinated and fought it for a few days, why there wasn't some extra that could have taken care of that. But maybe there was some lingering somewhere. I don't know. Really weird. I'd like to know why it rebounds. That'd be kind of an interesting thing to know. Anyways, I'm not sure why I'm still lingering here. All right, thanks everybody. We will see you guys tomorrow morning for the Letitia Stauch marathon again. I'll leave it on at halftime again. And thank you all for being there, getting the the taco stomps and whatnot. It's been helping the channel quite a bit, so I appreciate it. And we'll see you tomorrow. All right? So thanks, everybody. And as I always say, everybody, until next time, be safe out there. And a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 5 and a 6 and a 7 and an 8 and a 9 and a 10.
Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now.
True crime.
And during this whole time, I have not seen one person that is a crime
What was that, Grant?
Flag rejector. I'm a
Certified human lie detector. I'm gonna get you.
on a stretcher.
You've been trying to play me like an old projector.
Crime sector.
Hey, you sound like you've got a cold, Mary Lou.
I think I've got the same thing you have.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it. Wouldn't doubt it a bit. Why do you think that is, Mary Lou?
I don't know, Greg. We live in the same house?
With a vector on his vector. With all respect, y'all. Just remember, I've a temper fucking check ya. I have no agenda. I'm no pretender. And I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender.
Hey, Greg, you did a 3-hour show.
Yeah, so I'll just.
I know. I thought that's pretty crazy. I wasn't thinking I was going to even come close. All right.
Hey, Greg, I sound like you. I don't feel good either.
Well, you probably have COVID as well, right, Mary Lou?
Well, I think I do.
Well, how do you think you caught it, though?
Well, I live in the same house as you do.
Oh, what's weird? Because you're actually...
I'm actually what, Greg? What were you going to say?
Oh, I was just... never mind.
Come on, Greg, tell me what you were going to say, Greg.
No, I'm not going to, Mary Lou. You'll just have to go without knowing, all right? All right, everybody, thank you for being here. We'll see you guys tomorrow. And be safe out there.
Be safe out there. Greg, I don't like you. I don't like you at all.
I've heard that a lot.
I bet you have.
Really? Where do you think you've heard that from?
Those jackasses on Reddit, Greg, they do it all the time.
I agree with you there, Mary Lou. It's the first time we've agreed on anything.
Good night, everybody. Yay.
Not too bad, Mary Lou. Not too bad. All right, we'll see you later. Be safe.